So surface area of cubes and rectangular prisms, you can find this the same way, okay? Surface area is the total outside or covering. Think like if you're wrapping a gift, like how much paper you would need to go around the outside, or like an Amazon box or something that a package would come in, how much cardboard they need to make that package so it's going around the outside, okay? So we're just going to look at each of these and see. So our bases, right? We talked about this in yesterday's work. So these are the two that are parallel to each other. So these bases are both 4 by 3, okay? So we know that to find the area of a rectangle, we would just multiply them together. So 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, we get the same thing for the other one because these are exactly the same. So they're both 12. Okay, then when we're looking at our faces, we can see here that we have this side, and it is 11 by 3, and we have the same thing here, right? And it's also 11 by 3. So this side and this side are going to be the same. So we know that we would just multiply that together. So 11 times 3 is 33. Okay, so we have 33. And then for the other measurement, we know that if we look at this back piece back here, right, because this is 4, that means that this back here is 4, or this here is 4, okay? So that means that we would just say 11 times 4, and that's 44. And then, of course, we have another one of those in the front as well, okay? That's the same. So it's also 11 by 4, which is 44. Okay, so then we really just need to add them all together. Okay, and that's one way you could do this. Another way that you could do this is you could say, well, I have 2 sides that measure 12. I have 2 sides that measure 33. And I have 2 sides that measure 44. So then you could just multiply those and add them. So we would have 24 and 66 and 88. And then we would just add those together. Okay. Or another way that you can do it is instead would be to actually add what one of each side is and then just multiply that total by 2. So when we add here and total these together, okay, 4 and 6 is 10, so we get 18, carry our 1, okay, so then we get 178. Remember, area is always squared, so we're dealing with centimeters, so it would be centimeters squared, okay? So here, so total surface area is just the surface area covering all of the faces and the bases, okay? So we can break a prism into a net. We can open it up and find the area of each shape instead of leaving it closed, okay? So we know that here we have our 2 bases, okay? So I'll do these in purple for you to see. And their dimensions are 6 by 8, okay? So that means this is 6, this is 8, just like this down here was 8, okay? So we know that we would multiply those together, okay? Because to find area, we're going to say length times width, okay? So then that means that we would say 6 times 8, which is 48, okay? So that's for that. Okay, and that's for one of them. So what we could go ahead and do is multiply there and say that there are 2 of them. okay, if you wanted to do it that way. So then you would have 96, okay? So that's your two squares together, or your two rectangles together, because you get 48 and 48, okay? So then next, you could look at this rectangle here, and the other one like it is this one right here, okay? So again, area is length times width. And we know that we have sides that are 15 by 8 because this is 8. So that means this is 8. So this is 8, and then this is 15. Okay, so we're just saying 15 times 8, which is 120. Okay, and that's for one. Again, I want to show you that. So because that's for one of them, then we can just go ahead and multiply that by 2, which means we get 240. Okay, so then for our third shape, it's this rectangle here, and it really doesn't matter which order you find these in. I'm just showing you. Okay, so we know that this is 15, so that means that all of these sides are 15, and we know that that this side is 6. So when it's folded up, it's going to meet this side. So this side has to be 6, and this side has to be 6. So remember, a rectangle is length times width. So then we have that our area is 6 times 15. So 6 times 10 is 60, and 6 times 5 is 30. So we get 90. So one rectangle would be 90. We have 2 of those. So that means we get 180. So then we're just going to total that together, and you get 516 square meters. Here I just have a couple of examples of problems. All of the surfaces of the cube below are being painted. How many square inches will be covered? So what I want you to notice is this is 4. So 3 squares makes 4. So that means this has 3, so this is 4 inches. And then because this is also 3, then that means that each of these sides are 4 inches as well. So we just have a cube, which they told us that. Remember, with a cube, all of our sides are the same. So because we would just need to find, since they're all the same, we could find one side, right? So 4 times 4 is 16. So this is 16. And then we know that we have 6 sides of a cube. So 16 times 6, right? And so we know that 10 and 6 is 60, and 6 and 6 is 36. So we get 96 square inches. The next one says find the total surface area of the rectangular prism. So you just need to think about how you have 3 sets of 2. So this is one set right here, okay? So on this set, we have 2.5 times 4, okay? So that's what we're doing, is 2.5 times 4, okay? And so we know that's going to get us to 10. So that means that each of these is 10, okay? So what I can do at this point is now I need to multiply by 2 because I have 2 of them. So that means those total 20, okay? Then I know that I have this bottom piece here, and then I have the same thing here. So I have 4 by 8 on both of those. So 4 times 8 is 32. I have 2 of those, okay? So that means they total 64. And then I have this front piece, this front rectangle, and that's the same as this back one here, okay? So I want you to notice that those are 2.5 by 8. So 2.5 times 8, right, is 20. We have 2 of those, so that gives us a total of 40. And then remember at this point, you just need to total that. So that gets you to 124 square inches. Remember, area is always, always, always squared. So it has the exponent of 2.